Hey folks, Matt from artoftheimage.com. Following up on the last video about the best budget Nikon DSLR setup you can get for shooting professionally, professional setup for weddings and portraits and whatnot. I had a discussion with somebody. I wanted to, as we alluded to at the end of the video, wanted to discuss the best full frame setup you could get on a budget, and that would be this little beauty right here. As many of you know from past videos, it's the 610, my favorite best value in full frame DSLRs right now. So this is the 610. It has the 24 to 85 kit lens on it. You can see right there. So great deal. So if you want to build a Nikon full frame DSLR system for shooting professionally, the 610 is more than capable of top end image quality, both in high ISO, both in dynamic range, just pure image quality. It's a top contender among the top cameras. No question there. It's also a very capable body, very good autofocus system, very nice body. It has dual command dials, one in the front here, one in the back here, control dials, command dials, whatever you want to call them. So, you know, it has that pro feel to it, and if you're used to a more pro body with both of those, it's not something like the lower end line, like in the 5500 or the 3300, where you have a single dial you have to toggle. So very nice body. Brand new right now on Amazon, a 610 is $1496.95, so about $1,500. Used, they have 33 offers at starting at $975, so under $1,000, and you may be able to find them even cheaper than that. I have on Kijiji or on Craigslist or something like that. So maybe locally you could pick up a decent body used. Sometimes a photographer will be changing systems or upgrading to he finds he needs a higher level, like maybe he needs the 810 for the extra resolution, something like that. And they may be parting with a backup body that they hardly used, and they may be willing to let it go for a good price just to get it gone quickly and still recoup some money. So that may be an option too. But $975 used. You can get factory refurbs of these for a good deal too. And I've seen the 610, I believe it was around last Christmas, around last Black Friday maybe, when they had a kit together with the 50mm f1 4G from Nikon with the body for about $1450. That is a fantastic deal. So if you see something like that, great option. Because quite honestly, I mean, I have the 50 f1.8G right here. I could shoot an entire wedding with the 610 and that 50mm lens, not even with the zoom. It's a beautiful lens. Actually, really, I wouldn't want to not have a flash with me, but I could quite easily still shoot an entire wedding with no flash, all natural light, and the 50 f1.8G and the D610. It has such incredible high ISO ability, and the 50 f1.8 is such a fast lens that it works great. I mean, it's a standard lens on full frame, so I can zoom with my feet. I can get wide enough for group shots. I can get close in to get, and it still does a decent portrait shot. I can do the whole thing with a 610 and a 50. I could. It's, I mean, I've seen weddings done that way. I had a viewer send me in, that's exactly what he did, a 610 and a 50. I think it was the 50 f1. I don't know if he did the D or the G, but anyways, some beautiful shots he sent me just to show me what he was doing. I'll see, maybe I should contact him and put it up as a sample. Anyways, totally can be done, and a great way to do it. I mean, you can't optically beat a 50 f1.8G, really. It's one of the sharpest lenses in the lineup. It's only a couple $100. So then what do we do? As a pro, if you're shooting professionally, especially if you're doing a wedding or an event where you can't be replicated, you need two bodies. It's the only way to do it. It's your backup, it's your insurance, right? Two bodies that are the same is much better because you're not flipping between bodies and trying to figure out different controls. Even in the same system, it can be different. So you want two 610s. So two 610s used you can get for under $2,000. So it's more expensive than our other option using the 7000s or the 7100s, but still very reasonable for full frame. You know, my first camera was a Nikon D100, my first DSLR, I should say, was a Nikon D100, 6 megapixel APS-C DX body, and I paid about $3,000. I think it was $28 plus tax when I bought that thing. So I would love nowadays to be starting out like back then and get two bodies for $2,000 full frame. incredible. But there's another option you can go here on the body that can save you some money, because you can go to the earlier version of this, the 600. And the 600 got a bad rap in the sense that it had some oil spots. By far and large, most people did not encounter that problem. And when I say most, there was there was a percentage that had that problem, but a large percentage never even saw it. When you look at the actual numbers of those cameras out there, it was a very small percentage that had the problem. And those that did, Nikon's offering to fix it or to replace it with a 610. So it's fine to buy a 600. But you can get a 600. They have them on here, $771.99 used. So $772. You could probably find one of those for maybe $700, maybe $650 if you really shop around Kijiji, Craigslist. Great option, and save a couple $100. So, you know, for right around $1,500 now, you could have two full frame bodies, same image quality and whatnot, and then you could go with your lenses. So those are the options. I'm going to throw out one other option. I mean, my favorite value right now is the 610, but if you're on a budget and want to shoot full frame, the 600 is definitely an option, as well as the D3. The D3 is an older body, but if you prefer one of the larger, heavier pro bodies, and when I say pro, I consider this to be a pro. A professional body is whatever a professional wants to use. These can certainly hold up to shooting wedding. I mean, I shot weddings for years on two D70s back when they were all the rage and the latest and greatest tech. So these bodies are certainly fine for pro use, the 600s, the 610s. But if you prefer that little larger, beefier body with the built-in grip, you can get a D3. Where are we at for the D3 here on Amazon? $9.99 used. They've got 8 offers. You go to a D3S for more, $1,600. But the D3 is a very nice performing camera, 12 megapixels though, compared to the 24 in here. But if you prefer that style body, it's $9.99, so it's close to, you know, what you would pay for a 610 used. Or, you know, you could, on a deal, you can get a 610 close to new for that, you know, the deal I spoke about with the 50 f1.4G. So those are your options in bodies. Starting with the 610, saving a little more money, going to the 600. You know, 1,500, right around 1,500, a couple of used 600s. Around 2,000 for a couple of used 610s. All depending on what you pay for it used and what deals you get. But a little more for the 610s. You know, for the price of the two 610s, you could get two 600s with the lenses you need. So if you really want to go budget, go for the 600s. Then what we're looking at is I would add either the 50 f1.8G or the 50 f1.8D. That is a fantastic lens. As I said, I could shoot an entire wedding with a full frame body, the 610 or the 600, and a 50. So super fast lens. But what I would do is for lenses here, I would get the 50. Because you can get a 50 f1.8D for $100. Okay, these are two, still very cheap. But if you're on an absolute budget, you go with two 600s for $1,500. You get a 50 f1.8D for $100. So now you're about $1,600. And then one of the bodies you either find with the 24 to 85 kit lens that's on here, or you pick up the 24 to 85 kit lens used. You should be able to find that lens for $200 to $300. Let's just look quickly here and see what Amazon wants for the Nikon. Let's see, Nikon, I didn't have that one open. 24 to 85. So brand new, it's $596.95, but $295 used. And I've seen those locally on Kijiji for, what did I had one that I was going to buy for $250. I think he was asking $275. He got it in a kit and didn't want it. And he was willing to take $250. So a couple of bodies for around $1,500, $100, so you're up to 16 with this, with the 50 mil, and add the kit lens in there, and you're up to $1,850. So for under $200, you can get everything you need, because you can add two SB700s for. Let me just flip back to my SB700 price page here, so I'm not telling you the wrong thing. So around $200, $225 used. So it's another $400. But you could add one for on-camera TTL and then go with the Yongnuo flashes for about $65. A YN 560 version 3 or whatever they're up to. Because we have those here on Amazon. is the 560 version 3 is $65 brand new. So even if you want to skip the SB700, you can go with 2 of the Yongnuo flashes for $130. So now we're $1,500 for 2 D600s, another $350 for the lenses, so $1,850, and then another $130. So you're right around $2,000, and then you're going to spend another bit of money on batteries and memory. So like I said in the past video, Transcend 64 gig cards, Class 10 UHS 1 600 times cards, $25. So get 4 of them, so you got 2 for each camera. That's $100, and then you can get a set of 16 NA loops, 16 AA NA loops for your flashes. So that gives you 4 sets, 2 for each flash, or just as you're using a backup flash, whatever you're going to do there, you got 4 sets of batteries. So that'll run you through a wedding, no problem. That's $43. So, we're basically up to, say, $21.50 for 2 bodies, 2 D600 full frame bodies used, a 24-85 and a 50. It gives you 2 lenses. You got a backup. You could shoot the wedding with either lens. You got a couple of flashes in the Yongnuos. So you can have one on camera. You can use them both off camera, remote. Now you're going to want to get some triggers there, but they're about $25 for a set. I'll put a link below to those as well. So for $21.50, let's say we'll throw in the triggers too, so you got everything. Some Cactus or some Yongnuo triggers. You can get those for, as I said, $25, $30 for a set. Get 2 of them, so you got your backups. So we're into say $21.50, $2,200 for everything. Batteries, memory cards, 2 bodies, 2 lenses. Nothing can fail that you don't have a backup for, and you've got a great setup. You can shoot the whole, you could treat this lens as a constant f4.5 lens and just, think of it as that, and don't worry about the fact that it's a 3.5 to 4.5. Just consider it a 24-85 f4.5. You could shoot the entire wedding on that. But you don't have to, because you're going to have a 50mm f1.8 for doing those nice blown out backgrounds and portrait shots and whatnot. You can shoot the whole wedding on the 50. So that is a cheap, when I say cheap, I mean inexpensive, to get quality gear with backups and everything for a very good price for full frame. Now, if you want to add some other options, we can look at, you might want an 85 f1.8G. So either you might want to replace the 50. Mind you, for a 50 f1.8D, I would just spend the $100 or even get one used for $75 and keep it in your kit, because as I said, it's a good backup lens. You can shoot the whole wedding with it. But if you want the beauty of an 85 for that blown out background and that little bit of more compression, it's a beautiful portrait lens. It's one of the most popular portrait lenses on full frame. You can get a used f1.8G for $399. You can get a used f.8D, the older version, but works fine on the D600 or D610 for $300, $315, and maybe even cheaper locally. So I'll put all the links below, by the way, to all of these down in the show notes, the video notes, so you can check it out. But that's a good option too. And then the other option is, same as I said in the other video, for the long lens. If you're somebody that really likes to shoot long, and this is added cost, but you can get a Sigma 70-200 f2.8 OS for around, they're $1,200 new, but you can get one for about $750 used. I'll put the links below for that too. But a lot of people like to shoot the longer end of that lens, and will shoot a good portion of the wedding that way for portraits and things, for nailing candid shots at the reception or people walking around or in the church or whatnot. That length sometimes helps, and some people prefer it. Some people don't shoot with anything more than a couple of primes. They want one wide and one long. I know people that shoot like a 24 f1.8 or a 24 f1.4 and an 85 f1.8 or f1.14, and that's all they use in a wedding. It just depends on what you think your style is going to be. But you can certainly, that gets more expensive on glass, but you could certainly cover a wedding very well with this lens and this lens. You could cover a wedding very well with either lens, but with both, you've got a backup, and your backup only costs you $100. You can get, by the way, this f1.8G for about $125, $150 used. So, go with whichever one you want. The f1.8D is a little smaller, a little lighter. The f1.8G is a little bigger, but it's also got the newer coatings, less prone to flare and things like that. Kind of depends what you like. I love the f1.8D as well. I just don't own both of them anymore, because why do I need 2 of them? The 24 to 85 is a good performing lens. It's very nice. As I said, I like to think in my head of treating it as not a variable aperture lens. At the long end, it's 4.5. So I just consider it. It's like having a 24 to 85 f4, although it's an f4.5. So it's a great lens. If you have a little bit more cash, go for the 610s, but the 600s by all means are fine. And that's a great setup. If you can afford it, again, this is adding a bit more money, but get a couple of SB 700s instead of the Yongnu's. You can use them off camera, but you've got some TTL flashes, so you can do like foofing, bouncing off walls and things like that, and let the camera control the exposure on the flash. It's makes you to be able to run through things faster to let the camera do that. But it's fine to use the Yongnu's and save money. Maybe until you've done a bit that you got more money to invest. Use the Yongnu flashes or another cheaper brand of flash in manual and learn how to do that. You're better off knowing how to shoot a flash in manual to begin with before you go to rely on the TTL. But anyways, that's a great setup. That's my recommended setup. Best value out there to get into a Nikon full-frame DSLR professional setup that you can shoot professionally with. Pretty much anything. Especially, right specifically there, weddings and portraits. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you have any questions about the setup and how I would do that? Leave it in the comments below. We can have a discussion on it. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon here at artoftheimage.com. Thanks.